Hey, good morning. I'm the Fort Worth Playboy, and this is the Fort Worth Playboy question of the day on May 17th. We're going to go with that 2024. Yes, I've nailed it. That's great. May 17, May 17th, 2024. And I'm glad you're here. And the question of the day, again, I'm trying to address what I've seen over the last 5 to 7 years is the most common questions that come across in my email, my DMs. People are kind of shy. It's kind of funny. Guys that are like really out there and like big personalities, they still um, are are shy to ask questions, especially on an open public forum like Twitter or Facebook, especially Facebook, but Twitter. So they tend to reach out through DM um, or some type of more private communication. And I keep seeing the same questions over and over because that's pretty normal. There's always like a frequently asked questions with a subject or a topic. And when it comes to game and meeting girls, I mean, guys tend to run into, thankfully, the same problems almost continuously as they kind of like develop their skills. So, one of the beginner intermediate questions I get, and it's really common, is I banged this girl on our first date. I reached out to her to meet up again, and she said she wasn't interested in friends with benefits and ghosted. And there are slight variations, So if your situation is slightly different, and I had to use the best language I could, for something that's on YouTube. But I banged this girl on the first date. Most guys using my how to build a dating system will have sex on the first or second date. I've never known anyone that ended up on a third date. There's ways to overriding that girl's 3 date rule. And also you tend to increase the amount of it. You're more attractive than the average guy when you use my system, or you present yourself as more attractive. Therefore, girls don't want the chance of you getting away. So they'll tend to try to lock it in pretty early. They'll tend to have sex on the first or the second date. And this was not a plan of mine when I built the dating system. It's just the way it worked out. And that's like where Balancer 182 says on the first date. And that's what you start to expect this stuff. And it's a little bit of balance of both the skill of the system and your picker, who you decide to meet up with gets better. You don't really end up with any like no or maybe girls. You tend to go out with yes girls. So that's a side note on this because I think it throws guys when we start talking about having sex on the first or second date and they're not used to that. When I get this question, I had sex with this girl and then I reached out to her to meet up with her again and she told me to fuck off. I always ask, how long did you wait to reach out to this girl after you guys met up, had sex, you put her in the Uber and sent her home? They'll be like, oh, it was a couple weeks. Inevitably, it was a couple of weeks, 14 days, 3 weeks, a month. Well, yeah, she's going to have buyer's remorse. She's going to feel like a slut because you left too much fucking time between your meetup, you had sex, and then you moved on to weeks later. And they're like, I don't want to be a friends with benefits. I don't want to be a fuck buddy. I'm not here. Because even if that was on the table, you kind of fucked it by waiting so long that she had time to start feeling bad about herself. You don't want that or need that. She doesn't need that in her life either. And just like Balancer 182 says, 3-4 days max. Two is ideal. Usually the next day, kind of let her think about you. Again, remember, less is more. Let her think about you. Reach out the next day. Say, hey, I had a great time. why don't we get together Thursday night? I'm going to this place, da da da. You can go with me. Again, you get on the phone. If you get on the phone, it's for a very specific purpose to meet up again over and over until she's chasing you. Then she'll start reaching out to you. But that's the real deal. You need to keep it within 2, maybe 3 days. Even 4 is a little bit iffy. If you guys had sex on the first date, just and girls will sometimes reach out the next day. Just say, hey, I had a good time. They just want to be reassured that you didn't just, pump and dump. So if she does reach out to you the next day, definitely respond and definitely set up the next date if you can. If she reaches out to you, set up the next date. Set up the next time we're going to get together. I can't wait to see you. We're going to have a great time. And then you just build on that. Again, you want to sexually lock a girl in, have sex 3 to 4 times within the first 7 days. And it's the only time you really violate the 1 time a week rule. That 1 time a week seems to be the sweet spot where you can see a girl, she's interested, you're interested, you're away from her enough that she can think about you. She knows that she's going to see you Tuesday night. It gives her something to look forward to. And if she wants more, she'll tell you. And then at that time, you can tell her, you can say, hey, I'm really not a boyfriend kind of guy. I prefer just to kind of keep this casual for right now. I like what we have. Or you can say, okay, well, let's see where this goes. It's completely up to you, but let her take care of the relationship stuff. Men take care of the logistics, the paying for stuff, the sex. You make sex happen, but let girls take care of the relationship stuff. That's their business. So, and she'll take care of it by all means. If you're not showing any indications or indicators, some type of monogamy or exclusivity, not all, but most, I'm talking like 99%, she'll bring it up. She'll be like, yeah, where is this going? Hey, I didn't want to talk, So then you give her your answer. And you have to be okay with her walking, because a lot of times if a girl will she won't mind being in a rotation for a while. But she'll be looking for something more exclusive. That might be, a lot of it, you kind of need to look at where she's at. Like if she's just coming out of a relationship or a divorce, they tend to have a little bit more flexibility. They're not looking, this is counterintuitive. Most guys don't get this right away. They're not as inclined to immediately jump right back into something serious. Some are. Again, none of this is 100%, but by, I'd say like 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 are looking to just have fun for a while, 6 months, a year, while they kind of get their feet back under them. They've already gone through like a hard time due to a breakup or a divorce, and now they just want to have fun. Not all, but some. That's their goal, is to not take anything seriously, or to kind of like roll with the punches and see what shows up. So when you have sex with a girl first time, don't go more than 2 or 3 days without reaching out to her, because if you do that, the chances of you meeting back up with her start to diminish, because she starts to think, oh, this guy just pumped and dumped me. Even if it's not true, even if you have every intention of on the 4th day asking her out again, her perception is what matters. Her perception that you kind of used her, or maybe you came back around because, somebody else you're interested. Girls get all kinds of ideas. Isn't as interested in you, and so now you're like falling back on her. Girls don't like that. So you need to have intent and have a system of reaching out consistently, because you're going to have sex first or second date. Just get used to it. And so you're not in shock for like a week after that this thing works. But that's the real deal. Not to allow too much time to pass by. And if you turned around in 3 or 4 weeks and you reach out to her and she goes, look, I'm not interested, or if she doesn't respond at all, it's your own fault. There's not a lot in the dating world that is actually men's fault. Like, a girl ghosts you 9 times out of 10, it's because an ex came back on the scene, or she got chlamydia, or, her boyfriend got out of jail, or her husband came home. It's rarely, if ever, something you've done. But in this case, when you have a good deal, you have a yes girl, you have sex on the first or second or third date, but you don't reach out to her for 3 or 4 weeks and then she's kind of like pissed, it's your own fault. So that's the real deal. You are dealing with other people. So that's one of those, yeah, sometimes it actually is your fault. If you like this and you think that you could improve your close rate, you want a system that you can plug and play. You can take a girl that is a complete stranger and move her to naked and in your bed in a systematized, reliable, predictable manner. That's what the build your dating system's all about. And that way you can get that first night, or SLD, or SDL, same day lay, where you get her in there, and the first time you guys get together face to face, you guys end up in bed. Or second date. There's 2 systems within here. I really don't have a third date system because it's never been needed yet. You may be a unique case. The third date may be the charm, but generally your first or second date, you're going to close with this thing. It teaches you how to pick the right girls, how to move them in a systematized manner, how to condense time, how to overcome the 3-date rule, how to make yourself more attractive, how to do more with less. And even if you're on a budget, you can do this with no money. That's the best part, is you don't have to buy your way in. You pay to play, basically. It works for guys that are younger and don't have any money, all the way to guys that there is no objection, but we can keep you from having to overspend, or, there's a system that just seems pretty foolproof. But it's Fort Worth Playboy's Build Your Dating System. It'll help you overcome. And then, again, you have sex with her, and you can kind of decide, do I want to kind of like put her into a rotation? Do I want her to see her more seriously, like a girlfriend candidate? A girlfriend candidate you can see for a couple times a week. She has high qualities, and she's the type of girl that you would want for something long-term. So you have options, and girls love men with options. And that's what Build Your Dating System does at fortworthplayboy.gumroad, BYD pre-sale, or you just look up Build Your Dating System. It'll be there. You just scroll down, and it will walk you into choosing venues, the exact script to ask a girl to meet up with you, where you don't put yourself in the inferior position. It's just really she's joining you. And something that you're going to go do in any way and have fun. And you're going to have fun whether she's there or not. So it's a really good system. It's reliable. It's replicable. People tend to really take it and run it and go, shit, I wish I'd had this when I was younger. Because one, I'd have had a lot more sex, and I wouldn't have had to spend unnecessary money or go unnecessary places. So that's the real deal. I banged this girl on our first date. I reached out to her to meet up again. She said she wasn't interested in friends with benefits or a fuck buddy situation, and ghosted. We can prevent that. We can prevent you from taking a girl from complete stranger to in your bed and then dropping the ball. That's easier said, by reaching out within 2 to 3 days immediately after you reach out. It's inevitably guys do this, and they burn their bridge by waiting too damn long to reach out to her, and she has buyer's remorse. She starts to feel like a slut, and that's not what you're the giver of good feelings when they're around you, as long as they behave. So that's the real deal. Hope you guys like this. Pick up Build Your Dating System if you'd like a system to move girls from complete strangers to in your bed and naked, and glad to come back. And I will be back on here in about 10 minutes. I hope you guys have a great day.